So guess who's trying to get involved in 2018? Hillary Clinton. Here we go again. The Hill is reporting that on July 8th, Hillary Clinton is planning to campaign and fundraise for Democratic congressional candidates in 2018. Now, the article states that she will be using her super PAC called Onward Together as her big fundraising apparatus.
Yeah,
now,
which is her message to donors, by the way.
Essentially, give me money, give me money.
That's the first thing she did. When she launched that thing, they were like, Hillary Clinton is meeting with donors. Of course that's the first thing she does. You know, I mean, imagine the first thing she does is actually go out and try to get her thumb on the pulse of what's going on amidst people.
No,
imagine
of course
that.
not.
But that thought never even went through her head.
It's amazing. The first thought, she's like, all right, let's raise some money. Super PAC, let's go. Well, how do you think that's going to help? Especially since you spent, I mean, how much did she outspend Donald Trump? It's some sort of amazing
It was
figure.
at least 2 to 1. I mean, yeah, it was
least
minimum
2 to 1.
It was at least double, yeah.
So what makes you think that collecting more money from donors is going to change anything? Especially if you continue to have no message. I mean, you can look at the John Ossoff race as a great example of what the establishment, what Hillary Clinton plans to do for 2018. Put out a milquetoast candidate, or a bunch of them, that are corporate funded, sometimes obviously from out of state and out of the area. Of course, the Republicans were very, very good at hammering the message of, look at that, outside funding from the Democrats for these races. Look at that. It's all coming from California. It's all coming from Nancy Pelosi, which is where they, what they did. They hammered Ossoff over the head with that stuff. And, look what happened. He lost. He did worse than Hillary Clinton in that district.
Yeah.
So this looks like a repeat.
And his margins were a lot more significant than the margins of all the Bernie-crats that lost. I mean, I heard people saying, well, he came closer than any of Bernie's people did. Well, not really, because the margin that he lost by was worse than Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton lost by 1.5. He lost by 4. The margins that Donald Trump won by in those other districts were like in the 20s in most cases.
Yeah, I mean, look at Montana.
All the Bernie-crats lost by about, by single digits. So they actually closed their margins significantly. But, the media doesn't want to tell you that story.
Right.
They don't want to look at it that way.
I mean, look at James Thompson in Kansas. Is somewhere around 6 points, where Trump won by about, 20-21. About the same numbers for Rob Quist in Montana. I mean, look, they don't want to report on this. You're right about that. Gee, I wonder why. I wonder why they want to keep that quiet. I don't know if it has anything to do with, corporate control of the media. There's only 5 or 6 corporations.
You sound like a Kremlin puppet, Jeff.
No, that's probably what it is. Net. Now, let me go through and basically read what she said about the DNC. Now, you guys remember back in May, right after launching her super PAC, going to your point, she criticized the DNC. She said, it was bankrupt, it was on the verge of insolvency, and the data was mediocre to poor, non-existent, wrong. I had to inject money into it. Strangely enough, they're back to that.
We know she doesn't have much of that.
Yeah,
we know she had to start a GoFundMe. She really had to go out on a limb here.
Totally.
It was rough for her. I mean,
incredibly.
Her and Bill had to skip a few meals. They had to just they were eating gravy bread. I'm telling you.
Let's just say that
it was rough.
There was so much sacrifice. You don't understand. So much sacrifice on the part of Hillary Clinton to run for office this time. I'm sorry. I'm surprised I said that with a straight face. That was hard. But look, basically all that she said is, by going after the DNC, hey, don't give money to the DNC. Give me money. Give my super PAC money. Don't worry, we can do this. Now, what's her strategy? Well, I think we already talked about that, right? The same old bullshit. She's also looking at House districts she won in last year's presidential contest against Donald Trump as part of an autopsy of her failed campaign. This is according to 2 sources who have spoken with Hillary Clinton, telling Hill. In an op-ed for Politico, Clinton staffer Jesse Ferguson, who I covered that story, wrote, Democrats have to solidify the support of Romney Clinton voters if they have any hope of retaking Congress. And again, I covered that story, and I'm certain Mr. Ferguson was not very happy about that. But look, all I did was point out is that the strategy didn't work because they tried that during the election. Most Romney Clinton voters ended up going for Donald Trump. Trump won in the wealthy suburbs. He won those higher, income brackets. Now, look, everybody likes to be like, "Oh, Trump won because of those inbred hicks and without their, they're poor, the poor people. That's who voted for Trump." No, the majority of wealthy people voted for Donald Trump, and some poorer people did vote for Donald Trump because he did promise change because they were being crushed by the establishment. But that's not who brought him to victory. It's the wealthy suburbs. Those Romney Clinton voters, those people who were Republicans, they were not going to go for Hillary Clinton. They went for Donald Trump, even though they were not economically hurting at all, because they didn't like Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of... I mean, I've felt this way for a long time, and I think that, the election just proved that. This whole idea of like moderate Republicans being the same, I think at one point
doesn't exist.
That was the case, but that really doesn't exist anymore because the Republicans have gone so far to the right that pretty much any just right-leaning person is just going to go for them anyway. So if the Democrats don't present much of an alternative, you're not going to win over center-right people. You're going to lose people that want an economic message to connect with.
Right.
You're going to lose those people. The people that used to think that the Democrats had their back as working peoples that aren't convinced of that anymore.
Right.
And that's where they lost. I mean, that's who they lost, and that's where they lost. And you're not going to have a unified voice with progressives. And that's not the progressives' fault. You can't say, shut the fuck up and unite, or we're going to win without you, go fuck yourself, and then point your finger at progressives for, quote, not uniting. You can't do that. I mean, Hillary Clinton's message was loud and clear to progressives. It was, I don't need you, so fuck you. And, it didn't work. It just didn't work. And I think that that's going to continue to not work. And in this idea of, catering to the, quote, moderate Republican, it's like let's cater to the one-eyed raven. It's not a thing.
Let's
we all know the only raven is a three-eyed one. Game of Thrones coming back soon.
Coming back soon.
Yeah, hell yeah! Write this puppy up. I'm stoked.
I think we all are. But getting back to look how Democrats didn't get it. Remember Chuck Schumer, 2016, said, "For every blue-collar Democrat we lose in Western Pennsylvania, we will pick up 2 moderate Republicans in the suburbs in Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin."
Well, you know what they say, Jeff. 1 out of 4 ain't bad.
How'd that work out, Chuck? Not very good, did it? No.
Yeah, they lost 3 out of those 4 states. And
Sad.
The only reason they won Illinois is because Chicago carries that state.
Indeed.
It's the only reason they won Illinois. So, yeah, I mean, it was a completely broken strategy because it's incredibly dated. And it's always older. It's always the older generation that has those arguments. I mean, I've had this argument with my dad. When we're talking about strategy, because he was kind of more, he liked Bernie's policies better, but he's like, I'm telling you though, Hillary's going to win over those moderates, some of those moderate Republicans. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing. That's
right?
It's not
Doesn't
the Reagan
exist.
era anymore. It's
Unicorn.
not the neoliberal. That's not working anymore because the Democrats and the Republicans have both shifted far to the right. So anybody that's in the right camp, they're just going to go for the Republicans. They're not going to want to even hear the Democratic message. So you're not, by going to the right, you're not winning over moderate Republicans or center-right people. You're losing over working people that want to hear what you would do for them, that want to hear how you would help them not be in economic turmoil where they've been for maybe 30 years.
Yeah, and
They want to hear that you're behind them on a living wage, that you're behind them for a job. They want all that.
they do.
You know, it's not enough to be like, hey, we're the same economically as these guys, but we're okay with gay people.
Right.
That doesn't win. That's not enough.
And the Republicans, we know what the Republicans are offering. It's fairly obvious that they're like, working people. No, we hate working people. We love tax cuts for rich people. We're the party of rich people. So if you vote for us, that's what you're going to get. And I think most people, between those two choices, they probably stayed home, or they were too busy working their 3 uniquely American jobs.
Or the people that bought Trump's snake oil showed up.
Or they showed up.
Trump didn't run on what you just described. What you just described was implied, and it can be safely implied with the Republican Party. But what Trump did was he made working class promises. They were bogus bullshit promises, but people bought the snake oil. So, I mean, that single-handedly proves, like, that's who the Democrats lost that they need to win back. I mean, Chuck Schumer had it right when he said we need an economic message. It's very sad it took him until July to realize that. It's very sad. And he apparently has this economic plan that he's working on. I don't know if it's a Word document that he's there's my cat Lucy. She just got up, I guess, for being loud. But I don't know if he's working on a Word document. His wife needs to proofread it. I don't know what phase it's in. But you know, apparently he has this economic plan. Maybe he went to a couple more baseball games, tried to get the pulse off of normal working people. I doubt it, but who knows? So yeah, I mean that's the problem in a nutshell, and it's a problem that I don't think the Democrats have any interest in fixing, and that's the most disturbing part, because 2018 should be a bloodbath for the Democrats should wipe up. They should clean house. They should dominate, but I don't think they're going to.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.